keys to the city, baby. When you see us, so you know you really viewing greatness in the making. Double up on facts we stating. Podcasting, cruise control, city, state, the nation. So what you saying, what we saying, prime information. Facts, keys to the city, we're unlocking the statements.
Streaming every Friday.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Clovercrest Media presents Keys to the City. Got our new hoodies. The first batch came in the other day. So whoever purchased one, let us know. We will get you them as soon as possible. The next batch, put that volume down now. The next batch will be coming very soon. We are streaming on all social media platforms at Keys to the City. This is a show that's not going to be, if you're looking for a preview show of each game, go watch ESPN, go watch NFL Live, go watch Fox Sports, because that's not what the Keys brothers are going to do today. And Joseph, come on in. We got a lot of time. We got a lot to talk about. There was a lot of problems. We got a lot of problems with you people. There's a lot of bad blood pre-show. So here we go. We are finally live, and let's get to it. This is going to be
real quick, Trev.
Yeah.
My brother is actually sitting here on the set with me. We're working on the throwing jab show that we do, and I just turned to him and I go, "We're live now." He goes, "Wait, that wasn't the show?"
Well, we're live now. That was the
It was heated.
That was the rated R version of it. We have that's on pay-per-view. If you want to go check, you can subscribe to Keys to the City and just get to it. But this is not going to be your game-by-game picks. We're not going to do that. Like I said, if you want, go to ESPN, go to NFL Live, and go check it out. We're going to talk. Jordan, about the G-Men, right, Joe?
Oh yeah.
What we're going to talk about is the quarterback situation. And we're also going to talk because we are past the midway point of the NFL season already. It's 8 for. Can you believe how fast it's going by? We're already week 8.
Don't rush it.
So I know. I'm sorry. I don't want to get ahead of myself. But we're going to ask for our storylines of the first half and then our bold predictions. So everybody better have something for the second half of the season. This is going to be an all quarterback show because, as we know, this is a quarterback-driven league. This is a passing league. But there's a lot of uncertainty swirling around for a lot of teams. I wrote down about 9 teams on this paper, and I will get into that. There's about another 5 or 6 that are going to have to figure out their quarterback situation going forward. So for everybody that wants to love the quarterbacks, then this is the show that you want to tune into because we're going to be talking about those quarterbacks. And which team should we start with? Should we talk about the New York Football Giants, and we could just go off of that?
Because that's going to get us riled up.
That's a bit, yeah, that's what got us going. That's the big question going on right now in New York for both New York teams. Hell, if you want, you could add the Buffalo Bills as well. When 5 of the last 8, that's my bold. Jace, what are you doing? 5 of the last 8 games. You kidding me?
That would be terrible.
That would be really bad for the Giants because if they won the division, then that means they couldn't. And it might be. But like I said, there's a lot of good things going on in all three Buffalo, New York, and the Jets.
All right, let's get to it.
Josh Allen, Sam Darnold, and Daniel Jones. All quarterbacks that are very young, but we don't know if those are going to be the future quarterbacks for those teams. And let's get into it. Daniel Jones has been so up and down. As a Giant fan, we should be used to it. And Monday night was just another example of that. We saw the good at times. We've seen the good at times with Daniel Jones, but we've also seen the bad. And this is where Giant fans are split down the middle. It's 50-50 because of the fact that there's people like Joe that love Daniel Jones and believe he's a franchise quarterback, and there's people like us that are still kind of moving off of him or still uncertain about it. So, Ted,
I just want to point out, in my camp, though, was Mel Kiper Jr.
Mel Kiper? You listen to
Kiper?
Mel?
Yeah, Mel Kiper says, from what he sees, he believes Daniel Jones is a franchise quarterback, and I'm going to trust an expert.
Tom McShay did, and Tom McShay did.
And Tom McShay
and they're
did
both experts. And I can go back and find Mel Kiper's videos of telling a lot of quarterbacks are great. Ryan Leaf, yeah, he was a great quarterbacking, and all these other quarterbacks.
Yeah, but again, now that I've seen Ryan Leaf, I know when I see a Ryan Leaf in the future, and I'm like, not getting me again. You're not going to Jamarcus Russell me again. I'm not falling for that.
The problem is you just don't know.
I know who's not going to make it now. These guys have learned as the quarterback position has evolved. It's a different thing now.
Absolutely. But
And it's a
also
different skill set.
But 10 years ago, the game has drastically changed. I'm watching on multiple shows and watching this stuff. The game is made for quarterbacks to succeed now, not tomorrow, not next week, not next season, now. That is plain and simple. The rules are all generated for offense. You're not – 10 years ago, you could tell me on the one hand how many receivers like to go across the middle. That's how now everyone goes across the middle. You can throw the ball anywhere you want on the field because you know your receivers are protected by the rules. You know you can't get hit low. You know you can't get hit high. You know they can't fall on you hard. They can't come down on you with all their body weight. All the rules are presented for you to succeed in quarterback because what does the NFL want? They want points. They want runs. It's like the baseball game. You want home runs. You want juice because that's what people don't want to see 7-3. We want to see 41-48. You want to see what the Chiefs and Rams did on Monday Night Football last year.
You know what, real quick, I know this seems like a stupid thing to say, but if you look at the Giants' schedule, there are 5 winnable games on that schedule. Whether the Giants can actually win those games, you want to run through them? Let's run through them. They got Washington.
Do you have them right now?
I got it right here. I can't. You want me to pull it up? Let me pull it up on the screen. Totally. You know what? Let's just play the game. Let's go for it. Why not?
Yeah, why not? Wheel of Fortune.
Here we are.
You got it?
Hold on.
All right, let's see it.
Here it is.
ESPN. Come on, Joe. I can't see.
All right.
I can't see. No, anyways, here's my thing. While you guys are figuring this out, I'll speak. I'll let it go. My thing is, Jace, I'm answering this question. How is winning game? It's not winning bad. Winning is good for always. But when you see a team that is still at the bottom of the NFL and has been for the past, I don't know, since 2011, 2012, there's a reason why the Giants have been bad drafting. And I want to see the Giants win. I want to see the Giants win every game.
Here we go.
But when you have issues going forward and you have to solve those issues, winning doesn't help them because you have to build. This is a class that there are quarterbacks, there's offensive line. You need to figure out the offensive line situation, and you need to figure out your quarterback situation because Daniel Jones, like it or not, has another 7 weeks to prove it because realistically, the Giants are going to be looking for a new GM. And we know how new GMs are. If they come in, they might want their guy. So Daniel Jones may not be the guy come next season. I'm just saying it. Let's hear the schedule. The Giants play Washington this week. Then they play Philly. Then they play
at home.
Yes, they're home against
Cincinnati.
Philly. Yep. Seattle, they'll lose at Seattle.
Absolutely.
Cardinals should be a tough one. The Browns should be a tough one. At Baltimore,
they can beat the Browns. They won't beat Baltimore. They can beat Dallas. So you do legit.
There's 3 wins. There's 3 wins.
You could, but hold on. Just before the show, as we were discussing this, again, if you look at the Giants' results from earlier this season, I'm going to say because they lost by 10 to the Steelers, they even though they could have won that game, that's not fair to say. Mm-hmm. Not a final possession. Throughout the Niners game, they got lit up. And that was maybe the most embarrassing loss anybody's had this year.
But the Bears game came down to the last drive.
Decimated.
What is Daniel Jones proven, Jace? I'd like to know what you're talking about with that because his rookie season was very impressive. It was better than advertised for most Giant fans. Giant fans didn't expect that. He's regressed. If you think hold on.
The Giants could, if things had gone right on their last possession, could be 5-2. That's a fact.
I know, but they're not.
I understand they're not. But for you guys to look at me and say Joe Burrow at 2-5-1 or Justin Herbert at 2-6 is doing a better job, I see statistically they are. But if you're telling me they're doing a better job, how come they're not?
Because the Chargers defense is blown 5 games with 10 plus, 10 plus points. They gave up Drew Lock last week, 14 for 18, 132 yards or 148 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's not Justin Herbert's fault. That's the defense's fault.
Justin Herbert can score more points, though. Justin Herbert probably had a possession. He probably had a possession in that game where maybe it was a turnover. Maybe it was a 3-0. That might have changed the momentum of the game. Have you watched all his games enough to know that? I'm just saying, it's hard to evaluate other teams' guys if you're not watching their entire performance and you know all about what they're doing. Every quarterback in the league's got some issue or another. You just talked about the elite guys. You just said Tom Brady. I said 3 weeks ago you didn't have him on that list. This is a real. This all flows. You win a couple games, you're back on the radar. Everyone's singing your praises. You lose a game, and some teams you're like you'll write them right off. Other teams you're like, well, they're still pretty good. Well, maybe they'll big second. I mean, come on.
Well, see, Daniel Jones is closer to Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield than he is Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow. Daniel Jones.
I disagree.
Here's my thing, because I look at the comments, I'm getting ticked off. Because Giant fans, this is the problem with sports. You got to put I'm trying to think. You got to reality and expectation. I said this a couple weeks ago. Giant fans think that, Daniel Jones. The reality is the Giants suck. Okay, they've sucked for the past couple years, and you can't give me any other reason that, they're going in the right direction. Okay, so when you go 1-7, 1-7, 2-6, 1-7, that's going in the right direction, right?
Dude, not for nothing. Hold on a second. Now, hold on a second.
That's what I'm trying to say.
You're just arguing before now that Tom Brady's one of the elite quarterbacks in the NFL. Yet the Giants defense did what the Giants defense always does when they've got Tom Brady on the field. They put him on his ass and they kept him off the scoreboard.
But I'm not saying, I'm giving it. And they also shut down the Rams offense.
I've said this before. The Giants are an elite pass rusher away from being one of the top tier defenses. The defense has been great. I'm not taking away from what this defense. There's not a lot of stars on this defense. I mean, with the exception of Bradbury and Martinez, those additions have been excellent by Dave Gettleman. Great signings. They've worked out. The defense has been great. The offensive line has been crappy for years. We know that. And now we have to figure out, are we going to keep Daniel Jones for the next 5 to 10 years, or is Daniel Jones going to be a high and buy guy? Like, that's what it comes down to. And I really do believe that the Giants are going to have to think about it for the next 7 weeks and until April's draft. Because like it or not, there are 2 quarterbacks that are coming out in this upcoming draft who are very good in Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence, that if the Giants do get a 1 or 2 pick, are they going to consider taking one of those? And this is for other teams, too, that are really bad right now. Hell, you can ask every team in the NFC East right now that they have some kind of issues with quarterbacks. Washington hasn't had a quarterback since Joe Theismann. The Giants are still up in the air, uncertain about themselves. Even Dallas. I know they have the great Dak Prescott because everybody thinks Dak is an amazing quarterback.
Yeah, but here's what's happened to Dallas is proven.
I know. Okay, I get
what
that.
Dak's
but they were still 1-4 when Dak was playing.
But the defense also gave up 40 points. It wasn't like
that's my thing.
And Carson Wentz,
and then Carson Wentz, who has looked really bad since his MVP season. I mean, he's just taken a step back
against that Dallas
defense.
And that's
my thing is that every one of those teams have some sort of questions going forward with quarterbacks. And would Dallas, because I don't know how many more Dallas victories are coming. I don't. Well, realistically, if they did get a top 3 or 4 pick and that Justin Fields is available, would they seriously consider taking Justin Fields knowing that Dak Prescott?
He's talking about. I know what he's talking about, Joe. You're going to ask. It's Dallas. He's talking about because
Dallas.
You would then have a quarterback on a rookie deal, which would be very beneficial for Dallas. He'd have self-control of him, just like he had Dak. He could maneuver guys now on the team where their defense is in disarray and giving up multiple points. And you don't have to pay Dak the $150 million contract or the big contract that he wants to, or you don't have to franchise him $30 million a year, which would be next year, coming off an injury. There would be less questions. You would take a guy who's athletic, similar build to Dak Prescott, just better statistically coming out of college. More proven winner. That's also coming from Ohio State. Here's the problem with Daniel Jones is, if we're talking about this in a 50-50, that's the problem. You can't be 50-50 a quarterback. You either have to know he's the guy or he's not the guy.
Yes.
When you look at Baker
100%.
Mayfield for the Browns, you're still unsure of if Baker Mayfield is good enough to win games. Here's the problem. Eli Manning would not have succeeded in the NFL today. He would have been gone and someone's backup after 2 seasons because the game has changed in 15 years. It's not the same game. Eli Manning would have been benched and sitting on someone else's sideline after 2 or 3 seasons if he was playing today, because today is about results now. We look at Kyler Murray, okay? You could say, well, his offensive line sucks too, so don't give me that excuse, okay? But they've put weapons around him. He has succeeded. So has Burrow, even though the wins are not there. You just look statistically. Joe, you even said it when you watched that game against the Bengals early in the season. You're like, Joe Burrow's got it. You even said it on the show. That guy had nothing and didn't throw a damn pick, had 3 touchdowns under duress all damn night on a short week for a rookie. And that's really tough early in the season because you didn't have the preseason reps. You didn't have the practice that you would normally get in a season, and you were like, that guy has it. I don't think Daniel Jones would have been able to put up those statistics in that same game given the opportunity. So that's why I question Daniel Jones. Herbert, listen, Jace, you love him. You watch him in Oregon. You thought he was the real deal, should have been the number 1 pick. He looks like the real deal. Now, his team sucks right now. They've won 5 games with 10-point leads going into the fourth.
Well, they're also decimated.
Whose fault did that? It's not Herbert. If the Giants had blown leads, I would say, you know what? It's not Daniel Jones' fault. The Giants.
I'm not blaming everything. Like, I'm not blaming Daniel Jones.
No, because if everyone catches the ball, they beat the Eagles. But if Daniel Jones,
I've never said that.
But if Daniel Jones doesn't throw a pick against the Rams when they had a last-minute drive, they probably beat the Rams. And we're
right. But again, listen. So instead of 5-2, they're 4-3 right now because right. Again, dude, they're so close so often. It's like we could sit there and pinpoint, obviously defensive pass rusher. You can be like, well, another like a better starting corner on the other side of Bradbury would be great, like a stud of some sort, right? I mean, you can go around the horn. You go around the horn at every position and figure out where there's some weakness. I don't see it in Daniel Jones outside of the turnover issue.
Yeah, and that, Joe, I was listening to Jordan Renan, one of the Giants guys. He was on the
love him. He's great.
And he's great. But he's ready to move off from Daniel Jones. He goes, because how long do you consistently watch your quarterback turn the ball over and say, well, it's a problem. It's a problem. When does a problem become bigger than a problem? Like, you cannot continuously
catastrophic.
Because you're causing your team.
Okay.
Listen, 2 turnovers.
Do you guys realize by the end of Ryan Leaf's career, do you remember Ryan Leaf's career and how it really all fizzled out?
He lost the Rose Bowl against Michigan.
Do you remember the way he went out of the NFL, though?
Yeah,
it was
lineman in the locker room. He pushed a press conference.
Do you see anything like that with Daniel Jones?
No, that has nothing.
Do you see? Hold on.
I'm not comparing Daniel Jones to Ryan Leaf because
I understand that. But hold on. Look, the fact of the matter is he's got a terrible turnover problem.
Daniel Jones.
Oh yes, Daniel Jones.
Yes, we're on the same page.
I remember in 2007, I accurately predicted the Giants were going to actually face the Patriots and beat them, and I said that after the Giants lost their final regular season game that year to the Patriots. They lost 35-31, and in the game, I was like, oh, my God. If the Giants win the wild card and it came down to somebody losing for them to get in, if you remember.
Yeah, because they beat the Bills.
This team can hang with anybody. And I remember that year, I forget, somebody on ESPN broke down the interceptions that Eli threw. And I want to say, I think he had 22 picks that year.
Yeah, and
I want to say
34 touchdowns, 22 picks.
Whatever. Yeah, so the 22 picks, of those 22 picks, 12 were on the receiver.
Yeah, because of deflections.
Sure. So you look at those numbers, you throw those 12 out that weren't his mistake, and you're like, oh, God, this guy's good. Because 34-10 is a lot different than 34-22, isn't it? That's quite a different ratio.
But here's the
problem. When it's like, well, it's not even his fault. Guys don't know how to run routes. So it's amazing how the Giants receivers, for whatever reason, just don't run good routes. And it's been a long time since the Giants have had good route runners.
Exactly.
Who have receivers who are as smart as their quarterbacks, because the quarterback knows where you're supposed to be. And if you're not where you're supposed to be and the quarterback jumps it, that's your fault.
But quarterback can also make a route runner better, because Tom Brady's made no names. Russell Wilson's made no names. Mahomes, Roethlisberger. Here's the problem. Daniel Jones might be good enough to be the Giants quarterback for the next 10 years. Is he good enough to win a Super Bowl? Because what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to beat the best guys. See, Eli Manning was great against Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre and then the Brady and the guys that needed to be in the most important time. Will Daniel Jones be good enough to beat the elite quarterbacks in one game, Joe? Because that's all it takes. All you got to be doing is great for one game. It's like the little Giants. You can lose 99 times out of 100. All you got to do is beat them one time. Can he be that great that time? And that's what I question. Can't, because you're going to have Russell Wilson for the next 10 years. So are you going to be able to beat a Russell Wilson? Are you going to be able to beat an Aaron Rodgers? Are you going to be able to beat a Carson Wentz? Even though we have question marks about, can you go into these stadiums with these quarterbacks and beat them? Eli Manning did, and that's why we love Eli Manning, because as bad as he has played, and he was awful, we watched him against Minnesota throw 4 picks at the end of the season, and he was awful, and we wanted to kill him. We wanted him out before he even won the Super Bowl in 2007. That's how much but he was important when we needed him at the biggest moment. Will Daniel Jones be big enough and stand up tall when he needs to be in the biggest games? And that's what I question, because I watched the game this week. He had Golden Tate open a couple times, all right? He had Evan Ingram down the sideline. We were talking about this before the show. He said he led him toward the sideline. If he leads him, he puts a little air on it, because even Greasy said it, put a little air under it, put a little air and let him run more toward the end zone. He walks in a touchdown. Instead, he goes out of bounds. The Giants can't score. They kick a field goal. That's 4 points lost. Now you say, oh, he was under duress. No, he wasn't under duress that play. He also had Darius Slayton down the left-hand sideline. If he puts the ball in the air, Darius Slayton runs down for a touchdown. So there's missed opportunities again. Now, do other quarterbacks miss opportunities? Absolutely. But I don't give a shit about any of the other quarterbacks, because they're not my quarterback. They're the Giants quarterback when I watch it. Oh, are you mad? You're upset?
You know what? I got to tell you, I appreciate you saying that in a brutally honest fashion, and you're not wrong. But listen, again, I think typically speaking, as New York sports fans, we're so forgiving of Justin Herbert and anybody who's not our guy.
Well,
right?
I don't want Baker Mayfield.
No. Listen, hold on. Louis Severino's went and had Tommy John surgery, and everyone's always we don't know what we're gonna get when he comes back. He couldn't possibly be the ace he was before, but when Chris Sale comes back, everyone's gonna be like, oh, he's just gonna be fine like normal after. That's what they do. They always do that. That's how New York sports fans are. You have different expectations for your guy than you do for anybody else's team's guy. The fact of the matter is the Chargers are 2-6. The Bengals are 2-5-1. Heading in different directions? No, I think all 3 teams are heading in the right direction with the right guy at the helm. I think you just pointed out how bad San Diego's defense has been in letting him down in games. Now, I mean, the Giants have a different problem. I think their biggest problem's name is Jason Garrett. I think that's a guy who doesn't know how to utilize weapons in a quarterback. I think that's a guy that quarterbacks don't generally like. I don't know what it is. I don't know why. He seems like a swell fella, but we were talking about this. I don't even know if we talked about this on the show or not. Why are there not more designed run plays for Daniel Jones when that guy can run faster than Patty Mahomes? He's got the athleticism of Josh Allen. It's working for everybody else, but not the Giants. Why? The guy's got the skill set. Utilize him. If you start utilizing him, guys, and it still isn't working, get him the hell out of there. But give him a chance first. That's all I'm asking.
Well, he's got 7 weeks to prove it then.
Yeah, and Joe, and you, like you said, if you think he can win 4 or 5 games, then that's going to be on him to win the games. Because if you're the best quarterback on the field, you win those games. You win those games.
If they finish 2-14, I'm done. I'm done with the guy.
And you still want to have hope with him, then
no, I don't. Listen,
be in a small category, because you can't have a quarterback after 2 years and only have 5 wins. And my biggest issue is that he's regressed. I haven't seen anything that can make me say like I was excited for Daniel Jones. I want to be clear. Everybody thinks I'm hating on Daniel Jones. I am not hating on Daniel Jones. But I came into this season with the expectations that Daniel Jones was going to take his game to another level because of his rookie season. His rookie season, he had great glimpses of a franchise quarterback. He had his moments. But when I see a quarterback that comes in, we are 7 or going into week 9, I should say.
Hey, maybe he's a second half guy.
Okay, well, hope. Well, we got to hope. We can only hope. But when I see a guy that has 7 touchdowns right now currently and 9 picks, not including another 4 fumbles on top of it, and 37 since coming into the league last year, which leads all of the NFL.
6 in a 2-game span, by the way.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's a problem. Like, he's had glimpses of being great. Like, I've seen his moments. But then there's also moments like on Monday night where does the guy not know how to throw the freaking ball out of bounds when he's getting pressured? Like, that's just a simple question. I mean, like, I don't understand what is so hard for him to just throw the ball away. And when it's all over sports stations and people are talking about it, it's not just us that are talking about it, Joe, and the people that are watching. It's an area of concern that there's some sort of reason for people to talk about it. If it wasn't, we wouldn't be talking about it. So why are we talking about it? Because there is an issue. And we're going into year 2, going to be soon year 3 for Daniel Jones and the Giants.
But no, we're not. We're technically games played wise. We're just past year 1.
So he's at 20.
We're just past year 1.
But here's my
hold on. So hold on. Like, I mean, technically 3 games ago. Technically 3 games ago, he's still a rookie.
No, not anymore.
I mean,
Joe, you can't use a rookie statement no more.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why.
Joe, no, you know why you can't? Tua, they're already thinking about moving on from him. He's got 8 games to prove he's good enough. This is a show me state right now. This is what it's about. You don't get 2-3 years to prove yourself no more. Josh Rosen had less than 16 games to prove he was good enough as a quarterback.
Because
and you know what they said? Guess what? See, we're going to get someone better. Well, because this is a question. If you're the Giants, right, and you sit at the number 1 pick, you have 2 question marks. You say, I'm going to ride with Daniel Jones, trade the pick, get a bunch of assets like you've talked about, and make the team better as a whole. Or you're going to say, this guy that I could draft is better than Daniel Jones, and he will make my team better. And
hold on. Let me be clear then. Maybe I'm not being clear with you guys. If the Giants are 2-14,
yes, sir,
then then Daniel Jones would draft Trevor Lawrence, get Justin Fields. I don't care who. Really, I would at that point, Teddy, he would have proven to me.
Yeah.
If they're picking 1 or 2 overall, then the next 8 games, I'll just make the assumption he sucked.
Let me finish.
But here's what I'm saying. I don't necessarily think the Giants are going to go 5-3 or 6-2 in the second half. But fact of the matter is,
there are winnable games.
I'll do you one better. If they're 1-10 by the time they play Seattle, I'll put the flag right here, white flag, by Daniel Jones, because then they'll be 1-11 because they're going to get crushed by Seattle.
Will you actually do that?
I'll put a white flag here, which I'll keep for every appearance on this show and showing about the G-Men until Trevor Lawrence or someone else is our quarterback.
Then I hope you're a man of your word, because I want. I want to finish up these 2 things. I want to finish up
real quick. One last thought. I want you to finish this, but I want to just say my piece first. If Daniel Jones doesn't start winning, and he's this close to being like, again, they could be conceivably 5-2 right now. They could be 5-2.
100% agree. They've had opportunity.
If they can win 3 or 4 of these games in the second half, if they're 3-5 in good close games, or 4-4, they start closing some of these out, then get them some weapons and let's go for it. And not for nothing, it's not like there's not going to be another Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields, because there always is. There always is. And if you suck and the guy's wrong, eventually you're going to get another crack at the egg. But I think the guy's got the weapons, Trevor. I really do. And I didn't think that a few weeks ago. I've seen some things where I'm like, if they really let this guy play, I think he could be a star. I think a star. I'm serious when I say that. I think he could end up being better than Eli. I see it. But he's got to start winning games. If he doesn't, I'll be out in 3 weeks, I promise.
Okay. Look, I want Daniel Jones to be really good too. I want him to be.
I hate you, Steve Risser.
because I'm a diehard Giant fan. I want the Giants to be successful. I want the Giants to compete again. Like, it's not been fun watching the Giants for the past 8 freaking years. I understand that. Like, and Jace, to say, how is he supposed, regarding all the circumstances surrounding the season with COVID? Well, how did the other 31 teams do? What about Justin Herbert? I mean, I'm going to use your example, Jay, because of your guy, Justin Herbert. The man came in with 5 minutes before the game and didn't even know he was going to be the starting quarterback.
And almost beat Mahomes.
if it wasn't for the defense and them struggling down the stretch.
Do you know he was
So how are you
Brady,
hold on,
Brees, and
because I
Mahomes
want
in the fourth
I
quarter?
want to get into the other situations of teams. I want to finish up this Giant thing.
Okay, wait.
thing is-
Let me quick counterpunch, please. Jay Schrader came in after Joe Theismann broke his leg and lit the Giants up. Lit up Leonard Marshall, Lawrence Taylor, and Harry Carson. You know why? Because nobody knew anything about Jay Schrader. Justin Herbert, while I know he was shocked that he was going to be starting, also had the advantage that nobody game planned for him at all. So advantage Herbert in game one.
Well, they've had game plans the past couple of weeks too, and they still can't figure it out.
Do you know Herbert?
So, I don't know where you. So don't make the.
But they're still 2-6.
They've had, if anything, guys like Andrew Thomas needed more preparation coming into this season. Daniel Jones, like everybody else, the other 31 teams had to deal with the exact same thing. What, the Giants are in a special bubble or something, and says, "Oh yeah, the Giants didn't get the same treatment." No, everybody had to deal with it, Jace. And that's why I'm saying that. Why are all those young quarterbacks? Why is Kyler Murray?
Wait, who's Pat Mahomes' offensive coordinator?
Eric Bieniemy.
Who was it last year?
Eric Bieniemy.
Who was Daniel Jones' last year?
Look. Do not.
Hey, hold on, real quick. Not for nothing here. Hold on, real quick. With no training camp no training camp. Learn the offense. I couldn't teach Dak Prescott. Go ahead.
And why is Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert?
They didn't have
doing fine. Why is Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield maybe out on the way out?
Maybe they've got better offensive coordinators running offenses that utilize their skills.
Everybody had to deal with the same circumstances coming into this season.
Tom Brady went to a whole new team, a whole new offensive coordinator.
That's not true. That's not true. Pat Mahomes didn't have to learn a new offense.
No,
you're comparing Daniel Jones to Patrick Mahomes.
No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm comparing their situations, Trevor. You just said everybody faced the same thing coming in, and I corrected you, and I said no, because Daniel Jones didn't just show up and they ran out and started running plays. He had to spend a couple days learning what the hell all this terminology was and what all the plays were.
Hold on. So Jason Garrett is the problem for all the turnovers? Okay, you got it. And next point, let's go. I'm going to talk about the other teams because I'm sick of talking about it because all the Giant fans, as expected, have unrealistic expectations right now. And let's get back to reality. The Giants are
what are the unrealistic expectations?
That Daniel Jones is
that they're going to win games.
That Daniel Jones is a franchise quarterback right now, which is far from the truth right now because there's reasons.
Wait. Did the words "he's a franchise quarterback" come out of my mouth?
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about people. Like, if you
who said that? Who said he's a?
Well, you are insisting. You are saying that he is a. You did say he's a franchise quarterback. You did say last week. You did say after the Eagles game.
Nope.
He's the guy. What does that mean? What does that mean?
Said he's got the abilities and the skill set to be a franchise quarterback. Is he playing like one? No, that would be this. That was rhetorical. That means you don't answer. I'm going to answer my own question. Listen.
There's no rules.
I'm making them up as I go along. This guy has the skill set. He's not playing like Mahomes. He's not playing like Rodgers. But 3 weeks ago, neither was Brady. Now, all of a sudden, we put Brady back on the list. My point is, Daniel Jones has played really well at times. When it mattered, he hasn't. Is that a problem? That, to me, is a bigger problem, I'll be honest, than the turnovers. Because I could teach a guy how to protect the ball better. I can't teach him how to be a winner. Having a killer instinct is something you have or you don't. Eli Manning could lead his team back in the fourth quarter. If Daniel Jones can always just get right there and he blows it then he's not the guy. But I'm going to give him a few more chances to give himself that last possession, which he's had in 9 of his 18 starts.
Yeah.
9 of his 18 starts could be wins.
See, Joe, and
he's blown it in all but 2 of those times, guys. So I'm going to give him a little more time because I think that'll average out. And I think when all is said and done, I think you guys will be like, oh, maybe he is the guy.
And guys, don't count. If he beats Washington, he owns Washington. So don't get all.
That's fine. I don't care. I told you. I'm telling you, I don't care about Washington. And if he can't beat Washington, I might be there quicker. If he doesn't beat the Eagles, then the Eagles are better than the Giants, and he's not as good as Wentz. I don't think much of Wentz. Then I wouldn't think much of Jones if he can't beat Wentz. Do you see how this is going for me?
Yeah.
Hold on. Then you've got Cincinnati. What a great barometer. He's going to go toe-to-toe with Joe Burrow.
That's
We're going to see which one of these guys is the real deal.
And Baker Mayfield. We're going to see him against Browns.
Teddy, do you love this? After Cincinnati, you get Russ, you get Murray, you get Baker, and then you go to Baltimore and you get Lamar. He's going to go head-to-head with all the top guys in the second half, with his defense playing its best, the offense actually hanging in all these games. If they can't hang with these teams, we're going to know it, we're going to see it, and we're done. Decision made.
Yep.
But I think you got to give the guy 12 rounds, Trev.
Listen,
Let's go the distance. Let's go the distance.
No, I'm going to.
I told Trev this. I'm not knocking Daniel Jones out. I think a lot of people take it wrong. I just think, and I told Trev last night before I go to sleep when I was screaming in bed, I said the Pittsburgh game, right? The one that they had 17 play, it was like a 95-yard drive, and he throws the bad pick, right? That's where you just got to eat it and not take a pick. So, like, I'm thinking of the moments when that was a game changer right there. Because if the Giants score even
I'm
3
done with
right
the Giants
there,
talk.
boom.
I'm done with the
And
Giants
even when
talk.
Joe
Good,
said,
but you know what? We wouldn't be talking about the Giants, but you made me defend my honor. I like to think I'm the most practical, realistic fan there is. I'm not going to sit here and rah-rah. I've been saying all year the Giants suck.
Yeah.
All year I've been saying it. I picked against the Giants in every single game so far. And I picked against them this week too.
did you?
Because I value my money more than I value my pride.
Well, Joe, you know this against the Giants. You never bet with the Giants. You never bet against the Giants because they screw you either way.
I kid. I didn't really bet on the Giants, and you're right. The Giants are the team where, you're always going to lose by the 3.5. Like, now I get that half point.
I have faith in my teams, too. I have faith in my teams and all my teams. But when the Giants have been bad for the past 8 and going into the midway point for the past 4 years, how much?
And maybe I blame Gettleman, too.
How much faith?
I think in the last 3 games, this is the best the Giants have looked, the last 3 games, since any time in 2016.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. The Giants are
So hold on. So then, Trevor, how could you not tell me that they're at least trending in the right direction, that things are just a teeny bit better? It feels like they're on the cusp. Yeah. They're on the cusp of they've been blown out once.
The defense is going in the right direction. The head coaching situation is great. It's just the offense.
The players fight for their coach. They have
to figure out the offensive situation, and the biggest question mark, and he's going to have another 7 weeks to prove it, is the quarterback situation. That are you going into next year as Daniel Jones is your guy? And this is just one of the teams, one of the many teams in this league that have a lot of quarterback issues. And going forward, I named about 9. There's about another 3 or 4 because of certain quarterbacks that they have at that time that age-wise, Saints, Pittsburgh, they're going to have to be looking for quarterbacks sooner or later. But just a few I named: the Jets, the Giants, the Jags, Washington, Minnesota, 49ers is the interesting one, the Bears, the Browns, and the Pats. And the reason why I put the 49ers is because I think they're going to move on from Jimmy G. You look at all these teams. I can see all these teams next year maybe having new quarterbacks. It's not crazy. I just named 9 teams. Realistically, all those teams could have new quarterbacks next year. It's a possibility. And I didn't even ask the NFC East because, like I said earlier, they all have some quarterback questions going forward.
Yes.
So for a league that we say is, oh man, there's so many great quarterbacks, there really isn't. There's really, the Falcons, I think they're not going to move on from Matt Ryan. Now, that's their fault. I would put the Falcons, but I don't see them moving on from Matt Ryan.
He's got such a large contract.
That's my thing. I would have put the Falcons, but I just don't see them moving on from Matt Ryan, which they're foolish from because they need to start thinking about the future as well.
The rumor we heard with the Falcons was maybe Matt Ryan would go play with his old offensive coordinator and Kyle Shanahan for the 49ers. See, I think, Joe, when I look at Jimmy G, and I'm not relating this to Daniel Jones, but I look at a guy that is not making the team better. He's not a guy that's going to uplift his team. You know what I mean? If you remember watching the playoffs last year, Kyle Shanahan kind of took the ball out of his hands, out of Jimmy.
Don't you remember the game against Minnesota? No, it was the NFC Championship game. He threw like the ball like 8 or 9 times.
Minnesota,
dude, that was the ultimate Jeff Hostetler experience. Just you're going to throw the ball a few times. It'll be very pointed plays. We're not really throwing the football down the field.
Is he a backup that can play still at a average level, a pretty decent level, but not franchise quarterback material? Is that what we're saying?
They've got a stable of like five running backs in San Francisco.
Even with all the COVID, they still got guys that produce.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's insane. It's the backup generally runs for at least 80 yards, it seems like, every week for San Francisco. It's never the guy you think is going to start and get the carries. Jimmy G's job is to not turn the football over.
But here's the thing. You watched last week's game, and I watched the game last week. Jimmy G couldn't do anything against the Seattle defense, and then he got hurt. Then you watch Nick Mullins come in, and he was like 20 for 28 with 242 yards and 2 touchdowns, and actually led him to a 3rd touchdown drive. Jimmy G is not good enough. He is not good enough. No, and this is not the game where you can win with just running an elite defense, because
he was just in a Super Bowl.
Yeah, but they didn't win
because of him.
They didn't win because of him. If he makes that one throw, because of him. Joe, it's not even close, Joe. Because if the
but again, you're hold on, wait. You're gonna take a team, that wrote its defense, and its running back, took the ball out of the quarterback's hand, and then when they needed it most, they tried to put it in his hands. And what is Joe? Hold on.
He failed.
And he failed.
Hold on. But what does Joey always say? You take home the girl you took to the dance, right? Ask Pete Carroll about that.
See you later, Jimmy. Time to go home. I found a hotter date, Joe.
Find better.
Jimmy, listen, they don't need a better quarterback than Jimmy G. It serves their purpose.
No, you're going against
Russell Wilson. It serves their purpose.
Joe, he's the 4th best quarterback in his division.
That's all they need.
And that's not good enough.
That's like saying, Joe, the Browns need to keep Baker Mayfield. Because
if Baker Mayfield, if they're going to run the football more, play good defense, and ask Baker not to turn the ball over, that seems like a good recipe.
But you're not going to win the Super Bowl in a league that you got to score, because last year proved my point, and it's trending this way. You're not going to win like you did in 2019. You're not going to win running the football and playing great defense. How did Baltimore do last year? Nah, see ya. Great regular season. Couldn't score with the passing game. You got to be able to throw the ball, and your quarterback has
I'll always take defense over offense.
I know you will. But Joe, most people will. 9 out of 10 people will. But here's the thing: you're not winning the Super Bowl. This is not about defense.
I disagree with that. Look.
Joe, Seattle's undefeated. Joe.
Who had the better defense? If you go back, Falcons, Patriots. Who's the better defense? Patriots.
Yeah.
Right? When the Patriots needed to step up and their offense was coming back, everybody talks about how great Brady was in that game. Don't forget how great that Patriots defense was.
And think about how Matt Ryan sucks. Joe, you put a fantasy.
No. Wait, time out. No. All right. That was a Jace thing to say right there.
Joe, Matt Ryan.
You can't. Hold on. You just said the quarterback in the Super Bowl sucks. Yeah. Literally in that game, in that moment of the 3rd quarter, he's up 28-3. He sucks.
Joe, how many times did Matt Ryan?
Hold on. Matt Ryan up. Hold on. You just said Matt Ryan in the Super Bowl sucked.
Yeah.
You didn't. You don't mean that.
Well, he didn't suck. Statistically, he had a good game, but it wasn't good enough. And Matt Ryan has not played well.
How much of that do you credit the New England defense that saw a 28-3 more conservative Falcons offense just go to town on him and get the ball back to Brady, so he could work his magic?
Well, I put that on Kyle Shanahan. Just run the ball 3 times. And the game's over.
You go. You put it on 3 different people now. You just keep moving it around. Every time I point something else out, you put the blame on somebody else. Matt Ryan doesn't suck. Matt Ryan didn't suck that game.
I'll put it this way.
The defense came back, stuffed his ass until they could score, come back and win a football game, which they did. So don't tell me defense isn't relevant, because it is. It's the only reason. It's the only reason the Steelers are relevant right now.
Hey, didn't you say earlier Justin Herbert with Denver? They needed to score more points. Well, Atlanta needed to score more points too.
Couldn't score.
Clearly.
So who's fault?
You remember 2002, the Giants and the 49ers, the scoreboard game? You want to bring that one up? You cannot. Listen.
That was a game.
I'll give Bill Belichick one thing. The idea that this guy could put. I remember the 59-0 game against the Titans.
Yeah, Titans.
I mean, go for the jugular. Right? After the game, they were like, did you run up to score? Just wanted to make sure they couldn't come back.
Exactly. See, can I make one comment? And me and Trevor's Super Bowl prediction was Baltimore and the Saints. We're so far off. The Saints are not winning the Super Bowl with Drew Brees at their helm. They're not. He's not good enough, Joe. You know that, and I know that.
Well, since it's the midway point, it could change a pick.
The Saints are not winning the Super Bowl because Drew Brees, I watched him against Petersburg. Joe, he can't throw the ball more than 5 yards, and that's a problem. If you can't stretch the field, they're not good. And Lamar, we saw this. The Baltimore Ravens last week had Pittsburgh by the cojones. They could have blown the Steelers out. But Lamar wasn't good enough at the quarterback position in the passing game to take them to that next level. And what happened was Steelers played good enough defense to keep the game close, and Big Ben made the plays with his arm.
Joe, that's another team that you can almost add into this list that maybe down the road met that.
When I say a Jay's thing to say, I mean to say something that really doesn't have enough facts behind it.
Here's my thing about
Jace's thing was you can't go. The Raiders can't go to Los Angeles, which that used to be where they came from, and beat Justin Herbert, who's got one win at home. That doesn't mean anything. That's all I was saying.
You see all these quarterbacks, and everybody says, "Oh, this is a great quarterback league right now." Well, realistically, let's look at it. Mahomes is Mahomes. Brady's playing out of his mind at 43, and I don't think anybody will ever do that. And I would love to see anybody that Russell Wilson's playing out of his mind too. I don't know if he's going to play until 43.
Let me say this too. Look, hold on, really look. If you're a defensive football team, and again, as Giants fans, going back 86, 90, pick a year. I mean, right? How many Giants games? I'm thinking of the 41-0 over the Vikings, but how many Giants playoff games have ever been a blowout? Throw out the 41-zip.
The 49er game in 1986 when they knocked out
49-3. Yeah. Yep. Oh, that was it again. So you're gonna you. That's two.
Very few.
I don't know that there's any more than that. I mean, 17-0 wild card over Washington was a good one, but the Giants never blew anybody out. It was a lot of 16-13s, 2017.
Giant football, it's always been that way.
But you take a team like the Buffalo Bills, right? A team that the Giants, that team held the ball for 44 minutes a game.
I don't know if you could do
putting up 450 yards a game. I mean, that offense was ridiculous. And the Giants defense just stifled them.
The closest defense I see on that is Pittsburgh, and that's why they're undefeated. See,
there you go. So I'm saying it's still possible, but Teddy, it's always going to be ugly.
Yes,
it's right from the kickoff to the end of the game when you're Giants football, literally Giants playoff football from the kickoff to the final whistle, you're on the edge of your seat
100%.
The whole game. That's how those games. They're not pretty. They're not the Mahomes wins. They're not the Russell Wilson wins. You're not going to get the blowouts. But this is where I think New York fans start misapplying things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Eli was never great because he didn't do what Peyton did, but that wasn't what the job requirement was.
I never expected that because they're two different guys.
But I know you didn't because you're smart, but most New York fans, Ted, can't differentiate. And they're like, how come Daniel Jones isn't putting up Mahomes numbers? Well, because he doesn't throw the ball 60 times a game. That's why.
Doesn't have Eric Bieniemy, doesn't have Travis Kelce, doesn't have Tyreek Hill, doesn't have Hardman, doesn't have Le'Veon Bell, doesn't have Clyde Edwards-Helaire, doesn't have a great offensive line,
Now he's making my points. I love it.
And he's not Mahomes. Okay, because no one is Mahomes. Sorry. Right. The only person that's even close to the realm is Russell Wilson, and that's it. Even as good as Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers are, they both have liabilities because you saw in the Bears game, if you put pressure on Brady, he becomes a regular human, and Aaron Rodgers, when you run the ball and you keep them off the field, like the 49ers did last year in the playoffs and like the Vikings did last week, their game trends down.
Question, but
yes,
isn't that what we're doing? We're trying to rank quarterbacks based on what? Because to me, the right. Well, performance is wins. Performance equals wins. The quarterback who takes his team to the win is the guy I want. Pat Mahomes wins games. Yes.
Russell Wilson wins games. He had no running back.
Russell wins games. Rodgers wins games.
Yep.
They win games. Brady wins games. And I mean, like, all on his own. Defense can play like garbage. These guys still find ways to win. That's what these guys do.
You're comparing the best of the best right now.
But you have to, because
sure.
if you're going to win,
Hold on. So ready? Listen to this, though. We're comparing quarterbacks, but we're not comparing quarterback situations. I mean, Ryan Tannehill is as useless most of the time as Jimmy G is. Everybody loves Tannehill. Everybody's down on Jimmy G. What's the difference?
Statistically, he's played really well.
I'll take Tannehill over Jimmy G.
Statistically, he's played really well. If you just match the,
but would you have last year, Trev?
Yeah.
Oh, because Garoppolo went to the Super Bowl, so your pick would have been terrible.
Well, Mahomes beat Tannehill because Mahomes
beat both of them,
and Mahomes beat Watson when they spotted 30 points.
Well, because Mahomes is better, and again, you just ticked off an entire list of things Pat Mahomes has that no one else does. He's 25, and you guys want him in the Hall of Fame.
Jimmy G had to beat the Packers, and that was the most overrated freaking 13-3 team in the history of the NFL.
Let me tell you something. Pat Mahomes. First of all, Pat Mahomes walked into arguably the best situation any rookie in history has. I mean, it's tantamount to before the lottery pick. There were times where the Celtics, remember the Celtics had the number 1 pick in the draft?
Yeah, they traded it.
I mean, what? Can you imagine you're like the best team in the league and they're like, well, you get to pick first.
But the Chiefs moved up like 12 spots to get Mahomes. But you're right. You go to Alex Smith, who's a winning quarterback who won 10 games every year. You go to a Hall of Fame coach. You go to a guy who was Matt Nagy, who was the offensive coordinator, ended up going to the Bears. Eric Bieniemy took over. And then you're put with a Hall of Fame tight end. You put with the fastest receiver in the game. And then they just keep putting weapons around you. You have a good offensive line. And then you end up being the star. Now, listen, did anyone expect this? No. Do you guys realize that Mahomes actually right now statistically is playing better than his MVP season? Go look it up. Statistically, he had a better quarterback rating, better completion percentage, and his touchdown to interception ratio is much better than it was in his MVP season in 2018. So the problem I have is when we talk about these great quarterbacks is, can the guys who are average, okay, your middle of the road packs, the Jimmy G's, the Daniel Joneses, the Kirk Cousins, are they good enough to on that one day to beat Russell Wilson, Mahomes, Brady? Are they good enough? Because
the answer's simple. You don't need an explanation now.
Because if you remember when the Chiefs were playing the Colts in the wild card about 10 years ago, Andrew Luck, I believe it was his rookie season, the Chiefs were up by 24 points in the first half. And Andrew Luck was going against Alex Smith. Now, Alex Smith was a good quarterback. He's a good quarterback, right? We all agree he's a good quarterback, wins games every year. Mm-hmm. They ended up losing because Andrew Luck was the better quarterback and led the Colts to like 6 consecutive scoring drives. And that's the difference of having a quarterback that's good enough. And here's the thing. Why would you draft Mahomes if you have Alex Smith? Why? You didn't know Mahomes was going to be this great. Why would you do that? Alex Smith was winning 10, 11 games every year, winning the division. Why would you do that? Because they're somewhat better. So to bring it back to our beginning of the part when we first started the show 52 minutes ago, if you're there at number 2 and Daniel Jones, even if he wins 3 games and finishes 3 or 4-12, right?
Joe, you all right?
And you have an opportunity to draft Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields, and you think that guy is better, you do it. And that's why I say you draft him over Daniel Jones, even if he wins 3 or 4 games, because that's the difference. Alex Smith was a winning quarterback. He made it in the playoffs like 5 straight years. But I don't
know that if the Giants win 3 or 4 games in the second half, that they'll have an opportunity to get one of the better quarterbacks.
Hell, they might even win the division with 3 or 4 victories in the second half.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine?
No, but
I could imagine.
You look at the second. I mean, this first half it's been I mean, it's been tremendous that they still have a football season going on, first of all.
Yeah, I mean, look at the
With
49ers
everything.
game tonight.
But-
They got five
You
guys
look
out
at
on
this
COVID, and the game's still going on.
Can I be honest? I see a lot of mid-level play from quarterbacks, not named Brady, Mahomes, Rodgers, and Wilson.
Kirk Cousins has been awful
Other
this year.
than that, I've seen a lot of quarterbacks that each and every week. I mean, maybe if Herbert and the Chargers keep winning, and then he could be up there sooner or later, but not yet. Way too early. There's been a lot of quarterbacks that have been so inconsistent this year. Big name quarterbacks too, that you've looked, and everybody likes to say there's so many great quarterbacks. There really isn't. I mean, Carson Wentz has looked awful this year. Dak Prescott was amazing stats-wise, not team-wise, up until his leg injury. Matt Ryan has been good stat-wise. Team's not good. Kirk Cousins, you said. Jimmy G, Mitchell Trubisky, Nick Foles, Cam Newton, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Daniel Jones. I'm not even putting Jacksonville or Washington because they just have quarterbacks just for the time being right now until they try to find a franchise quarterback. But all these quarterbacks,
Even Philip Rivers.
yes, they're 5-2, but all these quarterbacks, I mean, Big Ben has been up and down too. Lamar has taken a big step back from his MVP season. There's a lot of subpar play during this entire season so far, whereas you looked at, I mean, Watson's been good. I mean, the team stinks, but those four quarterbacks, not other than that, everybody else has been so inconsistent. And that's my biggest takeaway from the first half, other than that they're still playing football.
I told you the season would go on with COVID. The NFL is not stopping. And I'm going to joke with this. This is the train. Just keep on moving forward. The show goes on, baby. And that's how the NFL look at it. Look at the 49ers tonight. They got multiple guys.
Do they even have a team going out there?
Yeah, bro.
Jesus.
And that's what's crazy, Joe. You think
Left and right. Joe, you just see it, more and more players getting the COVID.
Well, not even COVID. Look at the injuries the 49ers
The
have.
injuries too. My God.
George Kittle, Garoppolo. They're starting.
If they win tonight, it'd be a freaking miracle.
They're starting.
Joe, you want to place a bet? Pick Washington. Go pick San Fran. Come on.
You know, the San Fran could win tonight because if
Joe's thinking about it right now. I got him going. I got him. See, I got him.
because think about it. 49ers could do.
I'm like Joe Girardi.
Can you stop talking?
No, because this is what you do, damn it. I have to, every time I make a point, you come in. So how do you like how it feels?
So San Francisco could do the same thing that the Vikings did last week. Could do the same exact thing. Run the football with Dalvin Cook. They have the same type of offensive line. The offensive line isn't hurt. So they could still use a physical running game and control the ball and keep the ball away from Aaron Rodgers. And if anyone knows anything about football, the Packers, we'll do it right to that question next. The Packers, defensive line and linebackers are god-awful. I mean, you watch Rex Ryan, and he was like, Stevie Wonder would be playing better defense than the Packers. They just get killed. You saw it last year. They have no physicality up front. They're a finesse guy. That's what they are. They're finesse. If you can come out and punish them and play physical running football, you can beat the Packers. Now, Trev, you wanted to.
I want to answer this question, Jace, because it's a good question. To me, it's the quarterbacks playing down. Lamar has not performed to his level. Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan, Kirk Cousins. The defenses have been playing great, but all these big name quarterbacks, Jimmy G, Trubisky, Foles, Baker, Sam Darnold.
See, I disagree.
Josh Allen, all these guys that you think are going to be taking their next level or taking that next step are either still just content and plateaued, or they've taken a step back. So I would say the quarterback play has been down, other than those four guys.
See, I disagree.
But the defenses have been really good.
See,
Joe, what's the matter with you? You all right?
Yeah,
You're losing it.
I am.
I disagree with Trev.
Yeah, me too, Ted. Ted, take it away.
And here's the reason why I say
you go first, Teddy.
One thing first. Like we said before earlier in the show, some quarterbacks are in different teams in different organizations. Like Daniel Jones, a new offense coordinator, so you don't get that practice to do offense. If we know anything about football, the defenses are always ahead of the offense early in the season. So you might get better quarterback play in the second half of the season because teams. The other thing is we've seen a multitude of injuries this year don't usually see this, but it just feels like more. Maybe just because I'm living in the moment and that it feels that way. The other reason is COVID. with guys being out multiple times a week, guys have been missing practice, things going on. You look at the 49ers. Brandon Ayuk, I picked him up in fantasy the other day, supposed to give me 17 points. He's on the COVID list, right? So he's out. George Kittle's out. So the quarterback for the 49ers is not going to succeed when his guys are there. You look at Aaron Rodgers, guys in and out. You're missing.
Is it a combination of both?
You're missing 3 running backs.
Can I say something too, Teddy, just to sort of kind of another thought, and I'm glad Jace asked that question. It is a great question, and I think there is certain elements of both to it, but I think, we've seen the NFL become the passing league that it's become, and we've also seen defenses respond by blitzing a whole lot more.
And offensive line, if you've noticed, offensive line in general in the NFL is not good. They do not teach the same type of offensive technique as an offensive lineman in the college level, because the college level, if you watch college football on a consistent basis, it's quick screens and pass. It's a much more horizontal game than a vertical game. If you know what I mean, that means stretch plays, jet sweeps, quick screens. You watch the Baylor and Oregon offenses, and even Alabama's get the ball to the receivers and let them do what they do best, and that's run and make plays. The NFL is more about actual protection, development of a play. It's like taking a math equation and taking it to that next level. So go ahead, Joe. You were going to continue with your point.
I love that too. Yeah, dude, nailed it. I mean, he's talking math, right? Like, I'm serious when I say, I do. I think defenses are starting to figure stuff out more. And I think you're seeing different looks. You're seeing a lot more stunts. You're just seeing lots of different things from defenses, because offenses dominated the landscape for so long. And again, really, I think if you take out the Patriots and the defense in that Super Bowl, it's mostly been offensive teams that have been able to win Super Bowls. You still have to play defense, and there's still teams that in a place like San Francisco, I mean, look, Joe Montana and Steve Young are incredible players. And Jeff Garcia was a really good quarterback, but, I mean, that's a windy place to play. You're going to have skills out there. New York and the wind that you get, I mean,
Chicago, Green Bay.
Again, and there's a reason why. So when I say that, a quarterback like Pat Mahomes playing in the flatlands of Kansas with really no elemental factors.
Whoa. Kansas City's always got windy, snow.
Rain. Well, no. They definitely get snowstorms.
He's not playing in a dome. I mean,
it's flat land. There's the wind really is. It's not the wind that they experience there is nothing like you're going to see. You're not going to get 40-mile-an-hour gusts on the field in those games.
So you get tornadoes in the plains.
Right, but it's the reason so many of these teams are built on running the football. Yeah, and even though the NFL has changed, it's like, well, we can only change a certain amount because we really don't enjoy being able to throw the football down the field on 5 or 6 home games a year, probably. So again, it's your quarterback can't just be the best in the league. He's got to be the best fit for what you're doing. Absolutely. And I don't just mean your offensive scheme. I mean literally when you factor in the conditions of your city, what kind of football do you have to play?
Bill Sims at Giant Stadium was one of the few quarterbacks that was able to throw into the wind at the old Giant Stadium. People didn't know.
That's awesome.
And listen, awesome, I said the other night, I told you this, and I said, I wonder if Brady's going to struggle because you're playing up north in the Giant. It was a cold Monday night game. It was windy. So listen, and I said this. I said to one of my coworkers, I said, you don't think Brady thought about this? I'm sick. I'm 43 years old. I'm sick of playing in the cold, the wind, the rain. And I get to play in Tampa, where 8 games are going to be 80 degrees. The other 4 games.
Yeah, baby. That's why people retire to Florida and not Connecticut, right?
Then I get to play in Atlanta, which is a dome. I get to play at New Orleans, which is a dome. I play Carolina, which if I play them early enough, it's going to be good weather. So 3/4 of my games are going to be in warm weather climates. It's going to be better for my body. It's going to be able to recuperate, and you're going to feel much better than playing up in Green Bay or Giant Stadium or where it's cold and rainy and snowy.
All I know is there's 7 weeks left in this season, and there's a lot of teams right now that may have a lot of quarterback question marks going into the offseason. It's funny because I remember Ted, I think maybe last year, said, well, a lot of teams, about majority, 75 to 80% of the league has a quarterback.
I did say that. I thought they were all good.
We could be drastically going close to almost 50% by in another 7 weeks. Just saying, there's a lot to talk about.
If you asked me last year, I would have said Minnesota's got their quarterback with Kirk Cousins, and Jimmy G's their quarterback for the 49ers because he was playing well enough and everything was
hell.
well.
Even the
and then a year ago,
you would have said Trubisky because he came off of the 12-4 season. You would have thought the Bears had a quarterback. Look at that, 3 teams that have been very good for the past couple of years. They might have quarterback issues going forward, and they might have to figure it out.
You know, on all 4 downs.
Even your boy with the Bills. I mean, Josh Allen too. If he doesn't take his next step,
absolutely.
I'll even say it as well. Lamar, if he doesn't if he doesn't improve in the passing game and he can't win,
he's not going.
Ted, I know, but you already said you need a quarterback to win the Super Bowl. Can he win it? I mean, it's still right now we don't know because he can't beat the good teams right now. In his career, he has struggled.
He's got a losing record against teams.
He's dominated against all the other bad teams in the league.
But couldn't you make the same argument about Lamar Jackson?
Huh?
Could you make the same argument about Lamar Jackson, though?
No, that's what he's saying.
No, that's what I'm saying.
That's what he's saying.
I thought you meant just Josh Allen. Oh, yeah. No, listen, you're right.
One of the big ones when he plays against Mahomes or in the playoffs or last week against Pittsburgh or he struggles. Tennessee, he struggles. But when he plays against the bad teams, I mean, you're going to be great against every time you play the bad teams.
You know, it's funny that you should say that because I recently was looking up Clayton Kershaw's career numbers.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you something.
Speak to me.
If you look at the way he's feasting on those terrible Padres teams, which literally from 1998.
Rockies, Giants.
His record against those teams is like, whoa.
Compared to
everybody else, it's like,
well, you know, hey, listen.
It makes you wonder. I mean, again, look, you know, sometimes in this way I say.
Brady had the AFCs for 20 years, and they were god awful. So what would Tom Brady be doing if he was playing in the NFC South for the last 20 years and going against Breeze?
I don't know. He's doing pretty well right now.
No, I know, but for 20 seasons, you'd think he would have been winning the divisions at 12-4, 13-3 every year, crushing Miami, crushing the Bills, and crushing.
Well, that could be the question that you all want to run back to, Belichick or Brady. That's where it comes to the coaching too. I mean, I know Belichick and the Patriots are struggling right now. I mean, think about that. That's one of the most fascinating questions going forward is what are the New England Patriots going to do? And even the Dallas Cowboys, because if they continue to tank and lose, that could be another team to look out for a quarterback situation.
Can I tell you what I think?
No,
theory.
You cannot. You are forbidden.
I'm going to do it.
Okay.
I think when you look at the number of Patriots players who opted out.
Yeah.
And when you look at the number of guys who have been injured throughout the season and they had their own COVID outbreak, which is a little suspicious, knowing he didn't have a quarterback coming into this season until he grabbed Cam at the last minute, by the way.
He's tanking.
No, I don't think he's tanking.
He's playing chess while everybody else is playing chess.
I think he was banking on there not being a season. And I think he did
that's not Belichick's.
Listen to me.
I don't think that.
The guy who's been involved in 3 cheating scandals, you don't think hear me out for a minute.
Okay.
A lot of his top players, leaders on the team opted out.
Yeah, defensively.
With his blessing. With his blessing.
Of course. What was he going to say?
He waited till the very last minute to go get Cam.
Believe it or not.
I'm just saying, he admits that they didn't have money. He admits that they sacrificed, and I think he thought, we're never going to play. It's not going to matter. We get a couple games in, they shut down. This season's forgotten. We regroup next season, and we'll see where we're at. That's what I think Bill Belichick was up to.
With the whole players thing and got his blessing, believe it or not, Bill Belichick does have a heart. I know it might be hard to believe.
I disagree.
You're off the team.
I would need to see it.
Before we get out of here, we're at the midway point. Guys, got to give me a bold prediction for the second half of the season.
No, I'm sticking with my point. What did I say in the beginning? Saying that Tua would lead the Dolphins to the playoffs.
I think you should stick with that one.
And I'm sticking with that one. They won last week. They were 3-3. I said they would be 3-3. Tua would come in, go look at the first show NFL preview. I said Tua would lead them to the playoffs and be 9-7. Because here's the thing. I don't think the Bills are trending upward.
So you Do you have one?
No,
better?
I do. I actually do have a better one, but I want to ask a follow-up to your question. In which week does Tua finally break 100 yards passing?
This week.
This week.
108, 119. How many?
Come on. We'll talk about Gary Sanchez's batting average like that. Okay?
So hold on, we should put a question. Will Tua this week have more yards passing than Gary Sanchez's batting averages?
What was his batting average? 140. Let's make that bet right now. Somebody make a bet right now. You don't think he's throwing for more than 140? Does Ted think it? I think we should get a bet.
This week?
They're playing the Cardinals.
Oh yeah, he said him and Murray. Oh yeah,
Come on.
I'll take the bet. I'll take the bet.
Under,
Tua
right?
throws for under 140 yards.
Oh, over. He's definitely going over. I like the
Yes,
over.
we got a bet,
Okay.
baby.
I bet he throws for at least 150.
What are we throwing? We got to make another pizza bet?
Well, I already beat him on the Monday Night Football, so it's double or nothing. So I went from a small pizza to a large pizza. That's all it's
I
going to
love
do.
it.
Okay.
I love it.
You
Do we
have
get
both-
to eat the pizza together at least?
Yes, of course.
No, this is what you're going to do, Joe. You're going to watch us eat the pizza and my chicken parm that you owe me, and you're going to have to watch.
We'll get you some granola bars.
Yeah, we'll
and
get
some-
you
I don't like
granola
that. That's
We'll get
the worst part of the bet. The
I'll
bet
get you some
sucks now.
I'll get you some gabagool. How's that? You want some gabagool?
I'll do that. I'll do
All right,
that.
what's your bold
I'm
prediction?
gonna make my bold prediction, and I don't believe this at all. And it's got nothing to do with the Giants or Daniel Jones. How's that?
Okay. Yeah, let's go.
Based on all of you geniuses who obviously know the quarterback position and the Chargers so well,
Here we go.
I'm gonna make this bold prediction.
Oh, no.
Justin Herbert goes 7-1 in the second half. He beats the Chiefs in week 17 to make the postseason at 9-7.
Wow, we got two rookie quarterbacks with the bold predictions.
I love it.
Tua and Herbert. I love it. Are you trying to jinx them though? Like,
Yes.
are you trying to play this reverse psychological game?
Well, here's the thing. I
7-1.
feel like,
Joe, that's impressive. 7-1.
I can see 6.
oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Well, so and I'll tell you right now, he's 1-5 as a starter.
Joe, you know what's
The win they have was Taylor's win. So he's
Joe,
1-5 as a starter.
Joe, you know what's funny?
What?
He had Brady, Breeze, and Mahomes down 10 points going into the fourth quarter. All three of those quarterbacks, and
They're
won.
decimated.
They
Teddy.
should listen.
Teddy.
If you remember the Chiefs
Teddy.
game, you should have beat them.
Teddy.
They're decimated.
Teddy.
The kicker, hold on, stop talking. They missed the
Put
kick.
him in the
After
Hall of
missed-
Fame now.
Put him in.
Listen,
Yeah.
they
Had
have-
him all up by 10, and then he lost to them all. This kid is going places.
Listen,
That's Daniel Jones. That's Daniel Jones all season. What are you talking about?
Nick Rando said Joe Burrow.
Hey, can I make my prediction? I'm making my prediction. My bold prediction for the second half. We thought it could be a possibility this year coming
Jets win
in.
more games than the Giants.
No. I'm going to go with a bold
Ooh.
prediction. The Pittsburgh Steelers finished undefeated.
Baloney.
I just looked at their schedule.
They're not even that
I
good.
just looked at their schedule. Every game is winnable.
They have-
Baltimore home.
They will lose.
No, they will
you don't
not.
think they'll rest?
Nope. Because you still have a guy named Patrick Mahomes behind you on your coattails.
Hall of
Pittsburgh
Fame
Steelers-
quarterback, Pat Mahomes, by the
absolutely.
way.
Oh, yeah, Joe, that's an absolute. Yeah, he's going to
Yeah.
Hall of Fame.
Him
That's
and Mike
prediction for
Trout.
the second half of the season.
You know what
the
we-
Pittsburgh Steelers finished 16-0.
And you know what we never mentioned?
Book it.
I know Trevor's going to end the show, but did you saw the NFL was thinking about expanding the playoffs to 16 teams this year with the COVID going on? You
Hey,
saw
the
that?
Giants might have a chance. Yeah, that's why I said they still have a chance to win the division. I mean, that division is still up for debate. Just know that. But they win against Washington, and then Dallas loses to the Steelers, which could happen. Who does Philly play this week? I don't know who Philly plays this week. I forgot. But if Philly loses,
Philly's off this week.
okay. Oh, they won. Did they win? Are they going to win? That means probably not. In the NFC East, nobody wins this year.
Josh Allen.
So that's it. That's our bold predictions. Are we changing our Super
No.
Bowl predictions?
Yeah, well, I will.
Should we do it because it is the midway point right now?
I think it's the two best teams right now playing. It's Tampa and the Chiefs.
I got the Steelers against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Joe?
I've got the Chargers. No, I'm just playing.
Chargers Giants, right?
I'm gonna say the Steelers. I think the Steelers are gonna unseat the Chiefs. I really do.
And the Seahawks.
And coming out of the NFC, I think you're gonna have a little bit of a surprise team.
Oh, waiting.
I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Nobody
Come on,
stands
you gotta
out.
go right now.
No, come on.
I gotta pick one of these garbage teams.
Don't talk about the Giants and Jets like that.
I'm gonna be honest. No, there's nobody in the NFC, and you guys I know made the argument for Tampa Bay, and I've heard other people try to make it for Seattle and Green Bay. I don't know that
you have to pick.
I don't know that I don't want to pick one.
You're not getting off the show.
Green Bay.
Okay, I like it. Green Bay,
Pittsburgh. This feels like the year where like two ugly yellow uniform teams would be in the stupid
Pittsburgh
Super Bowl.
got some nice uniforms. We had that, and the last time that happened was Aaron Rodgers beat the Pittsburgh Steelers in the Super Bowl in 2012.
We shall see. There's a lot happening, Joe. As always,
have fun, bud.
See ya.
I can't wait to win a bet.
That was the host of the Roll Call, Joe Aguirre, as usual.
I know. Look at it. It's ridiculous. There's like 10 people, maybe even more. It's amazing that the 49ers even are putting out a team tonight. Good luck to the 49ers. Hopefully it's a good one. Time will tell. We'll see. But we are streaming on all social media, Keys to the City. Follow, like, subscribe, comment, and share as well. New hoodies, like I said, if you want a new hoodie, we have them there. This is what they look like. You can get blue or black, or even if you want a pink one as well. We sold a pink one, so if you want one, let us know, and we'll get you them ASAP. We are halfway into the football season. We got 7 more weeks left, ladies and gentlemen. To all football fans, let's enjoy. Clovercrest Media presents Keys to the City. We are out.
Yeah. Keys to the city, baby. When you see us, so you know you really viewing greatness in the making. Double up on facts we stating. Podcasting, cruise control, city, state, the nation. So what you saying, what we saying, prime information. Facts, keys to the city, we unlocking the statements.
Streaming every Friday.